there's a TikTok influencer that's facing death from firing squad. Nice. Thank God. Why can't we do this?
It's not every day you wake up and you see influencer facing by firing squad in 2026. So obviously, I wanted to know everything about this case and how we even landed here. Because apparently she thought that she found the perfect online romance. And instead, just weeks after landing in Dubai, her boyfriend had his life taken. She was sitting in jail charged with that crime. And she was claiming that she acted in self-defense. Now she's facing one of the
What?
toughest legal systems in the world. So let's break down what exactly happened. When I first saw the headlines, I assumed this was going to be like another straightforward influencer crime story. But the more I looked into this case, the less straightforward it became. Because right now, there are two very different stories being told. On one side, you have the prosecutors in Dubai who've charged the 23-year-old British influencer, Brooke George, with premeditated after her boyfriend, William Treby, had his life taken away. If she's convicted, she's facing the ultimate consequences under the UAE law. And on the other side, you have Brooke, her family, and the advocacy group representing her. And they say this was not premeditated at all. They say that she was trying to survive an abusive attack and acted in self-defense. And the difficult part here is, at least publicly, we haven't heard much from investigators beyond the charge itself. Most of the detailed timeline that's been reported so far comes from Brooke's family and the organization assisting her, while UAE authorities haven't publicly laid out why they believe the crime was premeditated. The advocacy group is called Detained in Dubai, and they say their mission is to help foreigners in the UAE legal system and to campaign for fair treatment. So they obviously think that Brooke is not getting fair treatment. And throughout this video, I'm going to be very careful to, separate what's being confirmed and what's being alleged. So with all that out of the way, let's start from the beginning. So you have Brooke George, who's a 23-year-old from Gravesend, Kent, who built a following on TikTok and Instagram by posting lifestyle content, travel photos, and snapshots of, I guess, what looked like a pretty normal life. Before that, she reportedly worked at John Lewis, and from the outside, nothing really seemed like she'd find herself at the center of an international criminal case. But earlier this year, she met 26-year-old William Treby online. And according to multiple reports, the two connected through Facebook, quickly started talking, and before long, what began as an online relationship turned into plans to see each other in person. Treby had been living and working in Dubai, and Brooke eventually flew out to visit him.
Her daughter, Brooke, she's only 23, she's very naive. She met this guy on Facebook dating. She went over to Dubai. It was, from her point of view, it's a whirlwind romance. He's taken her to all the high-end luxury restaurants.
Yeah, if you're a girl, here's some advice. If you're a girl and a guy is like, I want to fly you out to where I live across the world, I met you last week, you're probably going to lose at least some of your organs. Maybe something else. Maybe you'll just get literally shit on. I mean, it's maybe you're going to get human trafficked. You're probably not coming back.
And sort of the beach clubs. He arranges for her to have this modeling photo shoot on the beach. She's very proud and happy about all this. Goes back home, tells mum, look, I've met a guy who this could be a man I could spend my future with.
And according to her account, that first trip went really well. She later described it as the time of my life. And I guess between the beaches and the luxury places, it kind of looked like the typical honeymoon phase for an influencer couple. But I guess according to Brooke and her family, that feeling didn't last too long. So the problems didn't really begin until she returned to Dubai for the second visit.
He flies her out again to Dubai. But according to her account, the experience she has is very, very different. She's left alone in an apartment for a lot of the time. There are other people in the apartment. When they do go out, they're accompanied by this other chap.
So she says that William acted completely different from the man that she'd gotten to know during the first trip. And through statements released to the advocacy group Detained in Dubai, Brooke alleges that he became controlling and abusive, and that little things started making her feel like something was not right whatsoever. So one of the biggest red flags was apparently discovering that he'd only booked her a one-way ticket to Dubai.
It's exactly what I said.
Oh, that's not a good sign. Brooke's family also claims that she realized that he had her passport, making it way harder for her to just simply leave and fly home whenever she wanted. And again, these are allegations that haven't been proven in court, but they're central to Brooke's account of what happened next. So her mother says that she noticed a change almost immediately. During Brooke's first visit, she sounded excited and happy whenever they spoke. But on the second trip, those phone calls became very different. According to her mother, Brooke was quieter than usual and seemed very anxious. She also said that her daughter kept insisting that everything was fine, but she could tell something had changed. Then came a phone call that, looking back, has become one of the most important parts of the family's story. So her mother says that Brooke was crying uncontrollably. She sounded terrified and repeatedly said that
there's no like text evidence of this, right? I mean, like this is like, I'm not convinced either way right now. I'm not.
Wanted to come home. She also says that she could see one of Brooke's eyes was swollen and beginning to close. And around the same time, Detained in Dubai said Brooke had started telling friends that things weren't right and that she needed to get out of Dubai. So the organization also said that Brooke became concerned that she had been lured there under false pretenses, though there's been no public evidence released by investigators supporting this claim. So I mean, regardless of whatever was happening behind closed doors, it's clear that at least at this point, the relationship Brooke had described as the time of her life was, at least according to her account.
She was terrified. Why did she go? The guy baited her with the first time by giving her a really good experience, and then he got her to come back the second time, and that way have her guard down, and then he apparently then was going to probably do whatever he was going to do.
Pretty much over. And now...
Grooming?
She wanted to escape.
Like, we always talk about grooming in the context of, like, underage people, but it also happens with adults, too. It's just a term that's a general applicable, like function.
Then came the night that changed both their lives forever.
Okay.
So the two went out together the evening to McCafferty's bar in Jumeirah village. Okay. Brooke alleges that after William had been drinking, an argument broke out and he became violent on the drive back to the apartment. Brooke claims that the assault continued once they got home. And at some point, she says that she decided she needed to leave Dubai altogether. And Brooke managed to arrange a flight back to London with the help of her friends. But there was one major problem. She still needed her passport. They say that she returns to the apartment to collect it, believing that she could just grab her stuff and head straight to the airport. But what happened next is obviously the main part of this entire case, because Brooke says that she was crying, begging for a passport to be returned, when William allegedly attacked her again. She claims that she was punched repeatedly, feared for her life, and reached for a kitchen knife that was within arm's reach. And William then lost his life after being stabbed. But the question is, why? Brooke says she acted in self-defense because she believed
I think if the guy was trying to hit her, she absolutely should have stabbed him. Like, but like, here's the thing, right? Well, let me let it finish. Let me let it play out.
She was in danger. Dubai prosecutors, however, have charged her with premeditated, and that's where this case becomes very difficult to look at. Publicly, authorities haven't really explained what evidence led to them to conclude the crime was premeditated. They haven't released a detailed account of the incident or laid out the theory behind the charge, and they're also pursuing one of the most serious criminal charges possible
like
under UAE law. After
the thing is also, like, I mean, well, let me just let it finish. Then I want to play it out.
Crime, Brooke made her way to the Dubai International Airport to board a flight back to London that had been arranged with the help of her friends. But she never got on that plane. In the early hours of June 22nd, she was stopped by authorities and arrested. Before long, she was formally charged with premeditated and taken into custody. Brooke's family says that when she was arrested, she still had visible injuries from what they claim happened earlier that night.
Things are very, very different over there. According to the family, and there's this the organisation Detained in Dubai, she hasn't had access to a lawyer. She's been asked to sign things in Arabic that she doesn't understand. Even in her battered and bruised state, she was strip searched in a room only by men. Some of them are filming this protest. So it's not the standard of justice in the process that you'd get over here.
And these allegations have not been publicly addressed by the UAE authorities or the UK's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office has only said that it's assisting a British woman detained in the UAE, supporting her family and communicating with local authorities. And as news of this case spread, people online quickly picked a side. Some looked at the headline, a young influencer accused of stabbing her boyfriend, and assumed the case was open and shut. But I don't think this case is that straightforward, because once you look into this, it's a way bigger mess than what I guess the influencer headline seems like, which is why I want wanted to cover the story, because obviously you have to consider Brooke's injuries, her family's account, and the allegations of abuse. The argument on that side is that the investigators should be treating her as a possible victim of domestic violence rather than assuming that she was the aggressor here. The problem is that the public still doesn't have very many answers that would normally help make sense of a case like this. Like, we haven't seen any evidence other than Brooke's side of the story. And honestly, without that, it's hard to really understand how investigators came to this conclusion. As journalists started digging into both Brooks and Williams' backgrounds, more information about William started coming out. So according to reports in the UK, the 26-year-old had previously been convicted in 2023 of wounding and common assault. And he also got a suspended prison sentence for that. He was also reportedly due to stand trial next year as one of the several people charged following a Kent police investigation into conspiracy to supply, contraband, some of that white powder and the leaf. Obviously, I want to be careful here because this is important. None of that really tells us what happened inside that apartment in Dubai. Obviously, just having a criminal record doesn't mean that someone automatically was the aggressor here. But
let's just think about this for a couple of minutes here, right? Let's just a little bit.
Also, at the same time, it's also a part of the public record, and it's one of the reasons some people argued that Brooks' allegations deserve to be investigated rather than just simply dismissed. And obviously, Williams' family are also dealing with a tragedy of their own. His sister wrote that he wasn't just her brother, but also her best friend. His mother said that she was broken and promised that her family would keep his memory alive. This is all just an important reminder that regardless of how this case ends, one dude lost his life, and another woman is now sitting in a Dubai jail awaiting trial with the worst possible punishment hanging over her head. And now this case moves into a new phase where the courts, not social media, will have to decide which version of events is supported by the evidence. And this is currently where we're stuck, because Brooke, she's a 23-year-old British woman who's now found herself stuck in the UAE with the worst possible charge. If she's ultimately convicted of this charge, reports say that she could face penalty by firing squad. That's crazy and absolutely not something you hear every day. Obviously, that's worst case scenario, but regardless of what she gets, she's still potentially facing the rest of her life in jail. And she's currently claiming self-defense. She's 23 years old, she's thousands of miles from home, and her entire future now depends on what a court decides happened during a matter of minutes inside of one apartment. So whether you believe Brooke's version of events or think the prosecutors have evidence the public haven't seen yet, I think everyone can agree that this is an awful situation to be in. And this is why I think this case deserves to be looked at very carefully instead of reduced to just a headline, which is, again, why I wanted to cover this video. Because, again, the headline is just so shocking.
I think that she probably did do it in self-defense. I do. And I think that Dubai should probably not kill her if they think that there's a plausible chance for that happening. The reason why is that as much as I like the idea of death by firing squad, that's a great idea. I love it. But the problem is that Dubai and the UAE, they're very clearly, and Saudi is the same way, like Qatar is doing the same thing. These are countries that are trying to make themselves more appealing and attractive to tourism and to worldwide audiences coming to these countries and enjoying the rich culture that the countries have, as well as, just the experience of being there. Whenever you put a person in front of a firing squad, when there's so much ambiguity over whether they killed somebody or not, and especially when the person that they did that to had a criminal record previously. And what this would also, to me, this is a big component for me, is that how much of this is documented beforehand, right? Of like her saying that I'm trying to get a plane ticket, because there were communications with her friends. So like, are there communications that were done on text messages, right? Like with her mom, probably not, maybe because boomers don't really use, texting as much. But could you expect that maybe you'd have more texting with the friends talking about this problem getting worse? So there would be more secondary information, because you have to keep in mind that while a lot of these countries like the UAE are becoming more westernized, they're not Western countries. They don't have the same perspective around men and women's rights. They don't. And in some of these cases, men and women don't get treated the same in the justice system. And the problem with that is that if you, let's say they kill this girl, that is going to make every other Instagram baddie more afraid to go to Dubai. And is it good for Dubai that Instagram baddies don't want to go there? It's bad for Dubai if Instagram baddies don't want to go there. It's very bad for them. So, because it's all about tourism, right? And so they'll still go. I think less will go, right? It's good. They should already. And so it's good for the world. Well, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Like it's bad for their business model, right? Like if you go there and you hear this story about like, oh my God, this person went there and they got strip searched and all of this other stuff. They got a bad treatment by the legal system. Like if you want to make your city and your country available to the world, you have to make it like applicable to the world. And I understand that every country is going to have its own laws, but whenever you value those laws and you push them, and also like there's just very simply right and wrong. Like I'm going to be honest, I think that the way a lot of those countries handle men and women's disputes is regressive. I think it's massively regressive. It gives men way too much power. And it's basically the opposite problem of what we have. Like we have the same problem where women are granted way too much power in, for example, custody disputes. For example, things like, abuse, like the man is always seen as the bad person. Well, over there, the man is always seen as the good person in a lot of cases, right? Like you need multiple witnesses in order to say that like a man beat you. A woman's testimony is worth 1/4 of a man's in some of these countries. I'm not saying this is the UAE, I'm saying in general. And so like they have this same problem. And I think that fundamentally this is a bad thing. It's a bad thing that they do it that way. And I think it's regressive and wrong. And so like I am arguing from a moral perspective, but I think this is undeniably moral. Like it's an immoral, evil, bad thing to do. So I don't want to see somebody like that get killed. I think it's really dangerous for their entire economy. If they're building their economy off of worldwide tourism, that an altercation like this could result in such a massive mistreatment of a person, because it's going to make people less likely to want to visit that country. Like I'd love to go to Dubai, but if I see more stories like that, I'd be more afraid of going, or I'd have to like maybe hire a security person or somebody else like that to go with me just in order to protect myself. And I mean, I think this is just reasonable that most people would do. So I think that's the reason. There's no evidence that she acted in self-defense. Well, you're not listening, right? So I don't know whether there is or not. And that's why I said it depends. But like whenever I hear that this is a man that flew a girl across the country, like this is very, very typical grooming behavior. I'm basically talking this out as if she didn't do anything wrong. Like, I don't think that, for example, like, I think if a man is trying to beat you as a woman and you stab and kill that man, I think that you should go free. I think that there's nothing wrong with that, and it's completely justified. That's my value system. That's what I believe. And so when I hear that somebody could be killed for that, then I think that's the wrong. And as a man too, right? I mean, obviously, like, I mean, there's a degree of like, that's not true, like with Carmelo Anthony, for example. But, a guy's doing this to you. Yeah, absolutely. Good luck proving it. Yeah, definitely. So why would she premeditate for murder in Dubai? I mean, well, yeah. And so it's like, where's the evidence for this? Like, I mean, and that's what I'm saying, right? Is these countries, again, like I don't want to, like, it's not like racist or like fucking like, whatever phobic you want to say, but like these countries have laws that are really unfriendly towards women. And I think that we all know that. We all know this. And so I think that you should take everything that happens to a person like this with a grain of salt, but also I don't think you should believe the girl either. You think you're misunderstanding the tourism thing? They don't want goy tourism. They want rich tourism. People who have their own security teams. No, they want tourism, period. There are plenty of people that are making $200,000 a year that they would be so happy to have them be there. And those are the kinds of people that get involved in these disputes. Anyway, that's what I think about it, so far at least.
Currently, Brooke is still in custody in Dubai. According to her family, they're raising money for legal costs while trying to get a good representation in the UAE. And the British government has confirmed that it's in contact with local authorities and is providing support to Brooke. If this case does go to trial, the court will have to answer the question that everyone online has already been arguing about. Was this deliberate, or was this an act of self-defense?
And we don't have the evidence to really prove that. We don't, because I bet it's in the text messages, the calls, the fact that she booked the flight, the way her body looked whenever she was taken by the police. All of these things, we don't have any of these things. And those are the things that I would really base the decision off of.
Right now, we have no idea to know. You do have to be a special kind of stupid, though, to travel to the UAE and commit premeditated, though. But
yeah,
again, currently, we're only sitting with Brooke's side of the story. But obviously, as more evidence comes out, the picture could easily change. There may be witness statements, forensic evidence, phone records, or even surveillance footage. But for now, Brooke is still saying that she acted in self-defense. And prosecutors maintain that she committed premeditated. And I guess, again, until more information is made public, that's really where this case stands. So, hey, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
I'm super divided on this, but I am more on her side than not. But again, I think that all of the real things that would change your mind are not available, right? Why is saying premeditated murder? It's just murder. She's claiming self-defense. Well, because premeditated murder is different than just murder. Like, basically, if you plan to kill somebody, it's worse than if you just kill somebody. Like, I mean, obviously, right? Because, like, what's the, like, it's like a threat level thing. Is a person who's planning to kill people and then killing them more threatening than a person who's killing people, right? It's the intent behind it. I think that's really it. Passion murders, too. Yeah, a crime of passion, etc. It's mitigating circumstances. Yes, going to Dubai are a first mistake. I wouldn't go to Dubai expecting fair treatment. Well, that's the problem, though, right? Is if Dubai wants to be a tourism capital for the world, which is very clearly what they want to be. Like, make no mistake, Dubai wants to be a place that tourists go and that people want to go and experience Dubai. They want to be that. If you want to be that, you can't put a woman in front of a firing squad because she's saying that she's getting assaulted by her boyfriend. You cannot do that because it will scare people. They won't want to go there. That's it. And I think that's very reasonable. Like, I mean, I would feel that way. I mean, there you go. And they won't prioritize women over their beliefs. Well, it's not about prioritizing women. It's about prioritizing money. Because again, like, there's a reason why they have like ladies' night at fucking at bars. It's so they can get chicks to come in, and then guys go in because there's a bunch of chicks there. So like, no guy wants to go in there. Like, there's like you don't understand. Like, there's a lot of guys that want to go to different places in the world because they think they can meet up with different girls. Like, this is a huge thing for guys that have a lot of disposable income. It's a massive thing. And so if you don't have, you know, a bunch of hoes around, then it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad. And if the hoes are getting killed and you're shooting all the hoes, then they're not going to show up anymore. Passport bros? Yeah, literally. That's this is like an offshoot of that, but like, yes, the fundamental concept of that is what I'm really trying to say. You're right. It's also known women get sentenced to prison after they literally are raped because Islam is, and the fault is woman for being raped. Not always. That's not always the case, but in a lot of cases it is true. But, you know, again, Pakistan, for example, executed rapists as well. So like, it's not true. Yeah, it's like that. It's true, but it's misleading to say that, right? But anyway, I will look at a few other posts and stuff like that too, because I've been, you know, just kind of fucking looking at this other random shit. If she supposedly killed the dude in the apartment, then how'd they find the body before she boarded the plane? I have no idea. Like, I really don't know all the details, but I'm extremely torn on the topic, and I'm not really sure who's right or who's wrong on this. That's generally the way that I feel about it. And you're reeling in Assam with this one? Well, no, I don't know. I think he'd probably have the same take on it that I do. I mean, honestly, I do. Like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, I think he'd probably see it the same way.